sure it'll wind its way to me. I'm just realizing who you are.
I guess right there.
Oh, am I in the way? No, 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 I have to be at the end. You're part of the board. Sorry, I didn't know we were waiting on anybody else. Here you go. Sorry, I apologize.
Chuck Sanders.
Are we expecting anybody else?
Chuck Saunders. See, that's good.
She's looking for your name tag.
You forwarded me that email? Do you think you forwarded it? Oh, I can look at yours. Yeah, it's all in there.
Yeah, I can't get my computer to get online. I guess you have to have IT review a code now,
For some reason, I haven't had a problem, but,
because you're special.
okay, we'll go with that. Because I did check over the weekend when I got the email that said they had changed whatever.
You have to get an inspection from the local building.
Didn't do anything that required one.
Not so much here in all this place, but just the come up, sit down, put it up.
That's it. Floor, cabinets.
I would always come back to the trail before it was being used. Because can you take it back? I said, yes, I think somebody's gonna come up. with it.
This is like 28 pages.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
There's two
So you don't have to look probably the floor.
There's an email,
This is the third one I put in, I'm getting quicker.
I think I might be getting kicked out.
There you go.
The thing on the floor, everybody took
Is
school
this
and
it?
something.
Do you think?
I got some cracks in the
There's
slab.
two parts,
This
one
water
part
comes
is
up through
theirs
the
and then
floor.
the other part is.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
the-
theirs?
The treasure on the floor,
No,
just
just
concrete.
concrete.
Okay.
Just settling cracks from being a 40-year-old home.
And the treasure, we used to put down for things. Cracks in it. More hair than the Cubans that come up, you know, doing it.
I just saw walk upstairs with you.
Doesn't state statute require that when an impact fee study is done, that a economic component has to be part of it? I saw that.
Kim said she was on.
Kind of had some for Philadelphia. I got you. I'm pretty sure back in the 90s when it was, you know, when that was part of state statutes, that it has an economic component, and they don't, they're not even considering that. I agree.
It's like
He's
they
got-
pay for the reason all the other fees in. So
he said, no, do you know how much it would cost to pull a permit now? He said, Water County's doing the permit. If that passes, it's 22,000. And that's not the land, that's not the engineering, building permit, plans, or nothing, that's just directed to the county.
All I can say is I'm glad I'm retired now.
We just need to make it part of the record. When- We'll just need to make it part of the record.
Just two more engines still going. Just couldn't do it.
By the time you did the engineering and site plans and all that stuff, there were 28,000 and some. Maybe I can turn the blade of grass. Ready? Are they ready?
We're ready. Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Call the meeting to order. Everybody will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I always want to sing that. I should have been now.
Roll call.
Okay. Gaston Hall,
Here.
Kathy Lynn Atkinson,
Here.
Bruce Kaufman, John Phillips,
Here?
Chuck Sanders,
Here.
Joseph Belcher, Michael Rivers, Linda Cridlin, Roger Asper, Donna McDaniel. Present. We have a quorum.
Approval of the minutes. Motion, second.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? The appeal? Public first, right? Do they come up first, right?
Mr. Chair, yes, it would be the appellant would first make their presentation, and then staff would make their presentation. So,
Y'all come up and make your presentation?
Okay. My name's Raymond Chestnut, my wife Marcia Chestnut. We're appealing the decision from the county of having to elevate our mobile home we purchased in 2024 to 14 foot. We don't agree with the decision, and we would like to have it overturned. Now, do you want me to explain why?
Yes.
Okay. We bought this place January 24. We had a mobile home company come in to raise it, elevate it. During that time, the blocks, they're deteriorated. It's been there since 1970. It's 55 years old. Original foundation blocks, everything. Saltwater, erosion, it's deteriorated, it's eroded, it's cracked these blocks. So, there's no reason to repair any house or mobile home in the same level, because it's gonna flood again. All you're doing is wasting money. So we had it elevated to 53 inches. But the problem was, the company we hired did not pull a permit to do this. As property owners, I'll take full responsibility. I mean, we're the owners. We should have made sure that permit was pulled. So I'm not blaming the mobile home company. I'm gonna take full responsibility for that. So we went and got permits. Come down, I got every permit we were supposed to get. I went right by the guidelines of what I was supposed to do. I had to have engineered plans. I got them. I had to have an engineered letter. I got it. I had to have a survey. Got that. Site survey, elevation survey, mean high water survey, and remodel information, because I remodeled it and repaired it. I turned that in, and I was told if I was below 50%, we were good. All engineered plans, everything was good. We come in below 50%. Should have been good. Should have had my power. For some reason, we come up with another rule now. Since I wasn't mandatory, had to go up because of the FEMA, I should have been golden. But we've come up with another rule 5 weeks later. telling me since we replaced the blocks with new ones, it's considered a new foundation. Now, my engineer letter states this mobile home has never been moved. It is in the exact same footprint. And just by changing blocks, you can say it's a new foundation, but there's a little more to a foundation than just swapping out blocks. And I'm appealing this because of this. And let me see, I got to think of something else. But we done that, and I'm looking in here, and it says, under that code is blocks. It says, new mobile homes, setups. This trailer's never been moved. It's been there 55 years. So how, the code says it's under new manufactured homes in a flood zone. Well, this is not a new manufactured home. And I do understand it also says if you change out the blocks, it is considered a new foundation, supposedly. But it also says new manufactured homes. It's 55 years old. Now the problem is, if I did have to lift it, I gotta go do everything I was told to do originally. I gotta do it again. Same thing, to go 14 foot versus where I'm at. And I don't think that's right. But now I've caused a footprint, a permanent foundation for a 55-year-old mobile home. It's gonna cost me more for the foundation than the mobile home's worth, which that doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about. But the problem is if this place is 55 years old, it's not gonna last forever. 5 years, 8 years maybe. Now I'm gonna have to tear it down. But I got a permanent foundation here, locked in. So that tells me I gotta put the exact same thing up in that spot where I could have adjusted it and put something different in. But now, to do that, I'm gonna have to tear out the original foundation, which was worthless, to replace and go in a different area where I could go with a bigger and be more compliant with the code, because as it is now, I'm grandfathered in, but I'm encroaching like on the mean high water mark, on the roadway, where if I turned it north and south, I'm golden. But when I put up a permanent foundation, it's done. It's over with, unless you just want to tear it out and spend the money to put a new one up. And I see here where it went to flood review. It should have never went to flood review. I've got a waiver right here. It says flood review was waived. So how did it end up in flood review? This is my question. And my electrical was waived. I had a panel for panel swap, which I haven't had. It's been a year trying to get this done. And I think we are right. We bought this place for our family. We have a large family, and we live right not very far from it, and they come up about every 3 weeks. And it's just sort of an overflow, which doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about. But I can't understand. We had 2 of the worst hurricanes in history last year. 2 of the worst in Citrus County history, the worst. I never got 1 drop of water in that mobile home. No damage, nothing. No erosion, not 1 drop. I'm 9 foot, 2.8 inches up. And you're telling me I raised it 53 inches. That's what the mobile home company says. Well, how high was it before I raised it? Can the county tell me that? Was I 3 blocks up or 4 blocks up? I sent pictures in because they said there was no documentation on this. They had all the county records showing pictures of everything, my foundation and all of this. And then you come back and tell me that there's no proof of foundation. Well, I think the pictures show the foundation under my mobile home. So it's not a new foundation. And I don't think that's right. But we're just trying to get this taken care of. And besides the foundation, what else? Back to the raising. You can't tell me how high. You can say my company said 53 inches. But was it 36? Was it 40 inches? And then I raised it to 53? I want to know. Nobody can tell me. I mean, this is a main problem. So I don't feel I should have to go, we should have to go 14 foot. Now on the survey, this is another thing. I'll send in a survey. I've got the county's original survey, site plan. So when I go down and I had a meeting with them, and they were very polite and nice. And the survey I sent in, that's my new footprint. That is not the original footprint. I've got the county survey versus my survey. My survey shows my dock extending 16 foot east over the canal, 16 foot wide, back into my trailer. Now, my survey doesn't show that. That's a county survey. It shows all that. But for some reason, all that disappeared when I sent in a new survey. So what did they do, just wipe out the original, and my new survey is supposed to be the original footprint? Well, I've got copies of the county survey, and it shows. My pictures show. So all I want to know is, am I being singled out? I followed everything. I messed up to start. I've done everything I was supposed to do. And like I say, we had 2 of the worst hurricanes in history last year, and not one drop of water in that place. Everybody else around us were flooded. Even some of them on stilts were flooded. But I think we'll be fine for the age of it to invest and be locked in on the final footprint and have to change it, and then it's a whole nother story. But we're looking to have this decision overturned and leave it where it's at. Do you have anything to say? Do y'all have any questions?
Any questions? Thank you. Well, here's the county staff now.
What is that?
Here's the county you'll hear the county staff's presentation now, and then you can come back up and.
To answer one inquiry, the finished floor elevation, my name is Dawson Redder. Is this thing on? Okay. My name is Dawson Redder. I'm the floodplain administrator. To answer one question, the finished floor elevation affidavit is an engineering requirement. It is not a floodplain requirement. Floodplain is not waived on any of these types of reviews unless it is a scope of work that does not require a floodplain review. So to preface, you all applied for your permit application on August 6, 2024. The application specified the following as the work description: storm damage, Hurricane Idalia.
Hold on one second, Tony. We have hearing devices. Would it be helpful if we got you a hearing device?
Yes.
Okay. Let's, if we could just take a pause for 1 second, Chair.
There.
I saw the telltale signs. Is that better? Can you hear us better now? Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, ready? All right, so to preface, the subject application was applied for on August 6, 2024. The application specified the following as the work description: storm damage, Hurricane Idalia, after the fact, elevate 53 inches and reset mobile home anchoring and tie down, repair, replace all doors, all windows, flooring, plumbing, panel for panel change out, light fixtures, exterior stairs, paint, foam, insulation under home. Notice of commencement was not deemed as applicable, and it was a paper application. Renovations and repairs to manufactured homes or HUD homes are not governed under Florida Building Code. However, the placement, setup, and foundation designs are deferred to community requirements pursuant to Florida Building Code Residential, Chapter 3, R322.1.9, which reads, in addition to the applicable requirements of the state agency with jurisdiction over installation of manufactured homes, which would be the DMV, installation of manufactured homes in flood hazard areas is subject to the applicable provisions of the local floodplain management ordinance. Citrus County has adopted floodplain requirements for manufactured homes in Chapter 18, Article 6, Section 18208, manufactured homes, specifically Section D, which states elevation. All manufactured homes that are placed, replaced, or substantially improved in flood hazard areas shall be elevated such that the bottom of the frame is at or above the elevation required as applicable to the flood hazard area in Florida Building Code Residential, Section R322.2, Zone A, or Section R322.3, Zone V, and Coastal A Zone. Manufactured homes are defined as the following pursuant to Citrus County Code of Ordinances, Section 18204 definitions. Manufactured home means a structure transportable in one or more sections, which is 8 feet or more in width and greater than 400 square feet, and which is built on a permanent integral chassis and is designed for use with or without a permanent foundation when attached to the required utilities. The term manufactured home does not include a recreational vehicle or park trailer, which is also defined in 15C-1.0101 FAC, which is the state requirements for manufactured home setups, RVs, so on and so forth. Our determination was based on the plan reviewer's comments indicated in the permit. Our plans reviewer stated that engineered plans were required under FAC 15C-1.0103E because the elevation of the new foundation was 53 inches. Per the flood review comments in the subject permit, the new foundation must comply with new construction requirements of Florida Building Code. The flood review comments were as follows, and I am going to add to them for clarification to people who may not understand some of the acronyms and things in there. A flood zone is CAS, which is a coastal A zone. It means that it is subject to wave heights of 1.5 to 3 feet in that area. That is velocity wave action. The base flood elevation, or the 1% annual chance flood elevation that is adopted for enforcement through our local ordinance and Florida Building Code, is 13 feet. Our ordinance and Florida Building Code requires a 1 foot of freeboard, which is called design flood elevation, which is 14 feet. That is 14 feet NAVD 88, which is a more complicated way of saying 14 feet above average sea level. That is the mapped flood elevation for that area. R322.1.9, manufactured homes. I put the entire code in that comment. Replacement foundation must conform with the requirements of new construction. The foundation is not existing per provided documentation from manufactured home setup company. As a new foundation, it must conform with Section 18208 FBC R322. Foundation in zone coastal A zone must conform with the provisions of R322.1, R322.3. A lowest horizontal structural member, tie beam / lintel, must be established and must be elevated to the required elevation of 14 foot NAVD 88. Manufactured homes that are placed in flood hazard areas are required to be elevated such that the bottom of the integral chassis is elevated to or above the required elevation considered design flood. The existing manufactured home's foundation was completely replaced. See the below pictures and attached supporting estimate requiring replacement of the existing manufactured home. In addition to our ordinance, which also cites coordination with Florida Building Code, Citrus County Code of Ordinances, Section 18193, the following provisions of Florida Building Code are deemed applicable to the unpermitted elevation of the existing manufactured home. Florida Building Code existing 502.2, flood hazard areas. For new foundations, foundations raised or extended upward, and replacement foundations, the foundation shall be in compliance with requirements for new construction for flood design, as this is a manufactured home, which is subject to residential requirements. That would be Florida Building Code Residential R322. For buildings and structures in flood hazard areas as established in 1612.3 of the Florida Building Code or Section R322 of the Florida Building Code Residential as applicable, any additions that do not constitute substantial improvement of the existing structure are not required to comply with the flood design requirements for new construction, provided that both of the following apply. Addition shall not create or extend a nonconformity of the existing building or structure with the flood-resistant design and construction requirements. than the existing building or structure was prior to the addition. Lowest floor of the addition shall be at or above the lower of the lowest floor of the existing building or structure, or the lowest floor elevation required in section 1612 of the Florida Building Code building, or section R322 of the Florida Building Code residential. As this is a manufactured home, it wouldn't be subject to building code requirements for the interior finishings. However, it is still subject to the 50% rule, which is in our section 18197D of our ordinance. This is not a matter of cost as much as it's a matter of the replacement foundation. Florida Building Code existing Chapter 13, relocated or moved buildings, 1302, Item 3, the building is not substantially remodeled. It would still have to comply with the manufactured home requirements cited in residential R322.1.9. Location on the lot. The building shall be located on the lot in accordance with the requirements of the Florida Building Code building or the Florida Building Code residential as applicable, as building code cites that our ordinance is the authority on how that manufactured home is set up or placed in flood hazard areas. It still has to comply with R322. And connection to the foundation, 1302.2.1 still requires that it comply with Florida Building Code residential. And that is all for our determination.
Anybody have any questions for staff? Question, you said engineering had a role in this, but I don't see any engineering documents in here.
That should be attached in the.
And did they, was the permit issued before the engineering comments were put in place?
No permit has not been issued.
No permit, okay, so there's no permit out. Yeah, I know. It's just after the fact.
Yes, sir.
So the work that, I believe you hired Jennings,
Yes, sir.
the work that Jennings did, was that ever inspected or approved by anybody at the county?
But the county come out and looked at it and took pictures, and I did have a permit. And as far as I know, it was approved, but the engineering said they couldn't approve anything till it went through flood.
Well, you said you had a permit. What?
Well, I went down there and filed for everything. That's the reason I'm where I'm at now. I should have the permits.
So there was never a permit issued. Jennings, I mean, how did they proceed without a permit? Do you know?
I don't know. That's why I say I take full responsibility of not having that permit. But once it was done, we went down and pulled the permits after the fact. But let me ask this. It says here, under your rule 32219, it says, in additional applicable requirements of the state agency with jurisdiction over installation of manufactured mobile homes, installations of manufactured homes in flood hazard areas subject to the provision of the local flood plan. This mobile home has not been installed. It's been sitting there 55 years. So how can you tell me I installed it? It says right here, installation. It's not been installed. It's been there. So why would I be under Rule 32219? I didn't move it in. It's been there 55 years.
Can I answer that?
Based on our ordinance language, it's been placed. It would have had to have been moved in order for the new foundation to be put into the place that it is right now. So that falls under the elevation requirements of our ordinance. And it is also a replacement foundation which has to comply with Florida Building Code requirements per our floodplain ordinance.
Well, under 322, I shouldn't be under that because it's never been moved. It's in
It
the
would have
same-
had to have been moved in order to have a new foundation put where it is currently.
What do you consider moved?
Elevating it.
They lifted it up to put it.
Oh, you
in,
raised it.
correct?
Mhm.
They raised it.
Well, let me ask this. You don't know how high it was to start with, so do you know I raised it higher than it was?
According to the documentation that was submitted for the permit, it's been elevated 53 inches. We also have previous documentation from the property appraiser showing that it was lower than it currently is.
How much lower?
Is this some type of photo?
Yes, we have a photo that we've submitted of the existing.
Right.
So as far as a survey goes, we would need a survey to tell the exact measurements, but it is clearly indicated by the photos we currently have that it has been elevated to the 53 inches that were dictated in the document, application submittal documents.
But what I'm saying is you don't have any proof or record telling me, was it 30 inches and I raised it 23 inches? Was it 40? Did I raise it 13 inches?
It's non-consequential how high it was prior to the work being performed. The fact is, the work was performed. It has to comply with the provisions of our local ordinance and Florida Building Code.
But I was also told if I mixed in some of my blocks with the new ones, I wouldn't be here because it wouldn't have been a new foundation. And I did mention, I do have some old blocks I kept. I don't think it's a good idea to put 55-year-old blocks that's in that condition with new ones. But if that's what I need to do, I can lift it up and put 4 blocks in each column, and then it is not a new foundation. And that's what I was told. If I had used any of the existing blocks with this foundation, it wouldn't be considered new. Now, I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but that's what I was told. It's a 50-50 deal. You could go either way. It's whatever you're comfortable with, and understand the county is not liable for this. FEMA's not liable. Nobody is liable. My engineer's liable, and I'm liable. I don't need flood insurance. If any insurance I need would be structural insurance, and you can't get structural insurance. FEMA does not offer structural insurance. So a trailer that old is very impossible to insure, unless you just wanted flood insurance. But like I say, I can lift it and put some old block back in there, and it's not a new foundation no more. That's what I was told. That don't take much to do.
But you did move the structure up, correct?
Excuse me?
You did move the structure up?
I did go up. But regardless whether I went up or not, if I'd have used some of my existing blocks and mixed them in, it would not be a new foundation.
And who told you that?
Excuse me?
Who told you that?
Dawson.
Per existing 502.2, if it's elevated upwards in any extent, it has to comply with the current provisions.
It meets all state code, Florida state code, Florida HUD code, 100%.
It can't meet code if it's in a coastal A zone and it's not at 14-foot NAVD 88.
Mr. Chair, it seems like we're kind of going in circles at this point in time. It is the applicant's or the appellant's burden at this hearing to show that somehow the county erred in its denial of the permit application. So I think it's up to the board to determine whether or not the applicant has carried the appellant has carried their burden in showing that the county erred, and make your final decision.
Anybody else have any other questions? Somebody want to make a motion?
The motion would be either to approve the appeal or deny the appeal.
Anybody? No? All right, I'll make the motion to deny the appeal.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Does anybody have any comments, concerns? Can we get an update on the new computer system,
On the what, I'm sorry?
your new system,
Oh,
permitting system?
we had a little bit of a hiccup with the vendor who does the payments. They kind of weren't ready for us, I guess. So people were able to submit on Monday, but they weren't able to pay. So it didn't proceed anymore. That one did. Are you kidding me? So, yeah, so but they got that straightened out Friday. And so right now, we've had 3 express permits issued, and there are a handful in there that are in the applicant's court, pending payment. But, so that's where we're at with it. We had a training course, what was it, Tuesday last week? A lot of people came in. They need to get their digital signatures third-party approved before they can do anything in there. But I'm really excited about doing it. I go in there every hour hoping somebody paid. Trying to,
Is engineering now tied into that system so they get all their stuff is through that system?
Can you get what?
Engineering department, are they
Oh,
tied into that?
yeah, all the reviewers, all the reviewers will have to, operate in that system. Yeah. So,
During that training session, Sam, I was interested to see if in the old system, is there a way, if an engineer or architect was previously digitally signature approved, does that just, can that get moved right over to Acela? And staff wasn't quite sure on that. So is that an automatic thing, or is that something our engineer architects need to revisit and have it secondly digitally approved for approval?
yeah, they'll have to, we sent out a document that showed what kind of companies offer that service.
Yeah.
But we have no intention of integrating the two systems at all. And
So-
bringing any old data, maybe on a very limited basis, on some of these bigger, commercial projects. Example might be like the Home Depot, that we might move over, because they haven't started yet. But we had our bad experience with them attempting to do that down at Manatee County. I don't see how it's ever successful. I think that systems are designed by design to not be compatible. I mean, why would you want to be compatible with another system, your competitor, so to speak? So we don't have any intention of bringing that information over. But the engineers should know whether they have a third-party approved signature or not. It's about a 2-week process, couple of week process. There's a lot of back and forth between. You send them something, they send you something back, and then it goes like that for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
But that's what they do for a living. So they're very well versed at what we need when we say that. I don't believe DocuSign is an approved third-party someone who validates the electric signal. That's something you use that I think I used when I closed on my house. It's kind of like the digital signature you put in Adobe Pro. It's not the same thing. Yeah.
So you're gonna run the old system till all your permits are expired in that?
How's that?
All the permits that been made under the old system, you're gonna run the old system until
We're
they all
gonna
get-
run, yeah, I think that system's running until about the end of next year.
Okay,
And when you think about it, 80% of the work being residential, most of the permits, I'm gonna have probably a must-use date of September 1 on the new system. So typically, homes are built in a 7-8 month period, so most of them should be out of there. Very few left in there. And we're capturing the old data through OnBase, and they look really neat, man. They showed us, we had a demonstration Friday on it. It's kind of a read-only kind of thing, but it looked like it could do anything you wanted it to.
and payments now are check and cash, credit cards yet?
It should be set up for credit cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's using the same pay system.
Yeah, as the county's using it somewhere. Who was it? No, the system. The name of the company?
Invoice cloud?
That's it,
The
yeah,
county, it's a county contract.
yeah. But really looking forward to
I
it.
get my first submittal today.
Oh,
Get
yeah?
Back to the office, I'm gonna try the first house.
Well, if there's it's pretty intuitive to me. I mean, when he gave the demonstration, okay, here's how you create an account. Click on the button that says create an account. So.
Well, I'll find out if my engineer is his digital signature, I guess, will be accepted.
Correct.
It's the same vendor, I guess, for lack of a better word, that he used under the old system, Vera something. So hopefully the new system will recognize it. I'll let you know if it doesn't.
Okay.
But he's pretty convinced that it should fly through.
We got a lot of how-to videos on the website. I mean, it's just like screenshot by screenshot. So, and it's not just, the efficiency is fantastic, but what I say about it too is just more accurate. you're not gonna have these milestones and all this kind of stuff that hung you up, the self-certification and stuff. I just found useless. I have no idea what the intent of that was.
Right.
No intent, you know? If you tell me you're using ABC plumbing and you're not, that's on you. You know, I don't need somebody, they're gonna get an email. If you tell them, you know, if you have their email address in there, everybody's gonna get notified, hey, this permit just went out. So I trust you, they know you're using them.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited about the new system, especially what it's gonna provide as a builder, wanting to know the inspector that's being sent out to the job site. The current system, you just kinda had to bugs. I spent a lot of time bothering staff on the old system. And I know they gotta be excited to get rid of me from having to bother them on stuff that I shouldn't have to bother them on,
No.
you know?
We're also looking at some software for, being able to schedule inspections through your phone. It's electronic, I don't know if you,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's,
Yeah. and, I'm looking at, software for, wouldn't affect you guys that much, well, it may, for virtual inspections by video. I think it'd be very helpful if you had like one or two items on a framing, and just, we could come back and, hey, look, here's the strap that was missing. Stuff like that, nail plate, little stuff like that, you know, we could do by video.
That'd be fantastic.
Yep.
You know, the medical industry, I think you got a sore throat, you can send whatever in to the doctor and he prescribes it, and kind of the similar thing, you know, you send a photo, here's what we fixed, and boom, on the spot, and that saves your guys from, I mean, they spend a lot of time going back with the little nitpicky stuff.
Absolutely,
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's, looking forward to it.
yeah.
And what, you have any update on the building study for fees that they're kind of put the $75,000 out for?
They don't need that?
I know they don't
That
need it.
wasn't mine, I
I-
did not
I'm just saying,
initiate that.
has the consultant contacted y'all, or have you asked for any information, or are they just gonna do it without your input?
What's that, what are you talking about?
The building study fees, that the county approved $75,000 to do a new study for the building fees that we just did in December. So no interaction at all?
I'm sorry?
So no interaction with them at all?
My understanding, it's underway and that it's targeted to be completed in October.
And that's to come here first? It comes here first before it goes to the BOCC?
Don't know?
We're over chapter 18, which includes fees.
Yep.
New fees comes before the crab board.
Yeah, that's been done since 2000.
Too bad the impact fees information doesn't come before this board.
Right?
Anybody else have any other questions or concerns?
No, just if I didn't go to that training, how do I get signed up for the new permit?
We're gonna have some, is it 2 days or 3 days? July
3
7th,
through 9.
and 8th and 9th.
If you go on our website,
Yeah.
there's a
Okay.
link right on the, if it's not on the main page, under the news, you can go into the building site and we've got it there.
Okay.
And we offer one-on-one. If you struggle with it, just, you know, we've had 2 people come in and sit down at the desk with one of the permit techs. Showed them how to create an account and everything, how to submit.
Okay.
And we're set up now, that if we do multi-pages on a commercial plan, if there's a problem on one page, it doesn't affect the rest. We just couldn't have it one page redone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Else? Motion to dismiss? Motion to adjourn then?
Second.
Okay, we're adjourned.
Well, thanks, guys.